everybody, how are you? This is a video that I never thought I would be making, but I have been away from social media work for a month now, and I feel like there are a lot of people who have been asking where I've been, and I haven't really been saying anything, so this kind of was my chance to tell everyone what's been going on. So on the 26th of January, I saw my doctor because I had felt a lump on my right chest wall. And the lump came up really quickly, like I'd felt it just the night before. So on the 25th of January, it was a Monday, I got home from a really hectic work at 10 p.m. and I said to my husband, "Oh, I'm so tired. Work was crazy this afternoon." And I was just kind of like giving myself a little bit of massage, and I felt this really weird bump that had never been there before. So I said, "Do you feel this?" And he said, "Yeah, I feel it." And so I'd made an appointment for the very next day to go to the doctor. The doctor felt it, like she felt all up here as well. And she said, "Yeah, I feel something. Let's go get a mammogram done. And let's check it with an ultrasound. And let's not jump to conclusions. Let's just see how we go." So when I made the appointment, and if you don't remember anything from this conversation and from this video, what I do want you to know is that please do check yourself out for any lumps and bumps and bruises that you may have on your body, because you're the first person that sees yourself or touches yourself or knows what's going on with your body. And I'm always kind of checking my body out for things. And so this lump coming up was just kind of like, where did this come from? So when I got back home, I live in Western Australia. There's a place called Breast Screen WA. So that's usually where I've been doing my yearly mammograms. I contacted them, and their next appointment was in 6 months, and I was not going to wait 6 months. So then what I did was I called Perth Radiological, which is a private clinic, and they had an appointment in 2 months. And I called SKG, another private, and they had an appointment in a month. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to take the month. So between the 26th of January and the 21st of February, I was just living my life normally. I'd work. I knew I had this lump, but I've had lumps in the past. Like I had one that came up here that the doctor did an incision and had to pull stuff out, and it was all fibroid, and he stitched it, and I still have a scar there, and it was nothing. My son has had lumps underneath his armpit, and they were nothing. So I was just telling myself that, by the time this mammogram comes along, it's gonna be gone. And so just to let it be, I've been stressed. I had worked like almost nonstop over the Christmas, New Year's, and I was setting up my business and doing so much stuff. And so I just said that this was just my body's way of reacting to stress. So on the 21st of February, I went in for my mammogram, and it was just, I don't like mammograms, but I am grateful for them. Was in there for a very long time, then came out, went into the ultrasound, and was in there for a long time, and they kind of weren't really talking to me. They were just like, yep, next, and do this, and move your hand there. And then when I finished my ultrasound, they asked me to go back in for a mammogram, and I said, why is that? And they're like, "Oh, we're just wanting to be sure there's another angle that we didn't take." So went in again, and this, usually half-hour appointment was like an hour and a half. And then they said, "Okay, well, thank you, we've got everything, we'll be in touch with your doctor." And that was it. Like I went home, and then later that afternoon, one of the girls who was at the receptionist was someone I'd worked with previously. She called me and she said, "Mira, you need to make an appointment to see your doctor tomorrow. Something's come up on the scan, but I can't tell you what it is for confidentiality reasons." And like in hindsight, you know, I love her. She's one of my, good friends. But I was like, that's really weird. Now I am worried. And within like half an hour of her calling, my doctor's surgery called to ask me to come in the next day, which is not always a good thing. So I made an appointment for the next day. And then, the next day I went in, she said they have detected a growth on your right and a vascularity, and the growth was suspicious because it had vascularity, and they also detected something on the left-hand side, and the left-hand side was much smaller, and that needed to be biopsied as well. So she made an appointment for me to have a biopsy on that Friday, and then the biopsy for the one on the left couldn't be the same kind of biopsy because the one on the right could be done by ultrasound, and then the one on the left needed to be done by mammogram. And the only person in Perth, apparently, who could do a mammogram biopsy is on holiday and went back until the 21st of March. So I had to wait another month for a biopsy on the left. So I had to go to work after that, knowing that there was something with vascularity, which is always scary. And then I just kind of switched it off, put it to the back of my mind, and then went to work. When I got home that day, I told my husband that I had to go in for a biopsy and that this lump was suspicious and had vascularity. And then on Friday, I went and had the biopsy done, and then I got a call to come back in on Wednesday to see the doctor, and the doctor confirmed that lump on the right was called ductal carcinoma in situ, DCIS, which is early stage breast cancer. It's ductal carcinoma in situ, so in the breast there are ducts, and at the end of the ducts there's lobules for each in the breast tissue. So I had an accumulating mass in the ducts on the right hand side. So that was like, it was really strange for me. It was like, oh, so this is what this is. It was kind of like giving information to something that I didn't know what it was. Like, it's something, like I had this thing, I didn't know what it was, and now I was getting information about what it was. So I was like, okay. And she kept saying, this is good news, we've caught it early. Now what we're going to do is we're going to refer you to a breast clinic. And in the meantime, we're waiting so this was on the 5th of March, I got my diagnosis, 5th of March, and I had to wait till the 21st of March to get a biopsy for the left breast, where they saw a shadow underneath the nipple that I couldn't feel, had no idea was there. So between the 5th of March and the 21st was just this stage of reading up a whole lot about what DCIS was. And I was just going to work. I wasn't telling anyone. I was just keeping it to myself. I had my biopsy done on the 21st of March, and that was the first time that my husband came with me to anything after that. So the previous time it's just been me going to the doctors. 21st of March was the first of the appointments he came to, and mammogram guided biopsies are hard. Like, mammograms I find hard, just the way they move you, they stick you, they manipulate your body, and some are, of course, have nicer bedside manners than others. Just the lady that did it for me was this young, very professional, efficient, but just was pushing a human into the machine to get the right, best shot. So it was very task oriented and not a very kind of, are you okay? Here we go, my love. None of that. It was just, okay, hold here, step there, just a little bit more, and squeeze this. I know I don't like biopsies. The procedure is awful, but I'm so grateful for biopsy because, okay, I was the one that could detect this, but the biopsy, the mammogram was able to detect this. And so, yes, and they took the biopsy, and that was on the 21st. And then a couple of days later, my doctor called and confirmed that there was an LCIS, which is a lobular carcinoma in situ on the left. So I just remember sitting there, and I got this news. My husband was at work. I got this news over the phone. I just sat there thinking, this is like a big change in my life. And so what happened then? I then went on to see a breast surgeon, and she referred me to do an MRI. And the MRI picked up on the right, but didn't pick up anything on the left. And so once again, I'm very grateful to mammograms because they are able to pick up things that MRIs can't. But the MRI also checked all the way through and said there was nothing found in the lymph nodes, nothing found in the bone. So again, MRI is good for its thing, and the mammogram is good for its thing. So, you know, together they give you a great picture. So after that, I went back to see my surgeon, and the surgeon said that this was the 4th of April, I think the 4th of April. I'd gone to the surgeon a couple of times, but on this time, the 4th of April, the surgeon said that she recommended a double mastectomy to remove the right and the left, and to decrease my chances of cancer. So just a little bit of background information. There is a history in my family. My sister has stage 4 metastatic, and my cousin has stage 3 breast cancer, and a couple of my aunts on my father's side have also had it. So my doctor recommended, and although DCIS is contained, so whenever they say in situ, it means it's contained within the ducts. Lobular, in situ, contained within the lobules. Once it starts accumulating, it does have the chance of escaping and becoming invasive, and that's kind of the next stage. So I was lucky in that I was early stage, but we're not going to know exactly what it is until we take the pathology out. Biopsies are great. They take, you know, a core sample, but, you know, they take it from here, but what about the rest of it? What about the other sides? The other added problem I had was I had fibrocystic changes all throughout my breasts, and so they kept saying, you know, dense breasts, hard to see, very complex. Every biopsy, every report had complex, fibrocystic, dense, unsure, unclear. So the doctor said the fact that there was a lump in DCIS is never lumpy, never shows as a lump was one thing. The fact that it was vascular was also another risk factor. The fact that my sister has it, is another risk factor. And so my chance of this becoming metastatic, they gave me, was at 33%. And they said that if I do a double mastectomy, then my chance would go down to 2%. So that's what we decided to do. We booked for that. My operation was scheduled for the 30th of April, and so from the 5th, when we found out, not the 5th, the 5th is a Saturday, must have been the 7th. The 7th was that final, this is what we're doing. We'd gone to the doctor the Monday before and the Monday before to get all these checks, but this was the 3rd meeting with the surgeon at the breast clinic, and that was that final one where they decided that that was the best course of treatment. Lumpectomy was suggested, but with lumpectomy comes the added treatment of radiation, and radiation therapy for me, I don't think was the right option to choose. I have two autoimmune disorders that are exacerbated by radiation therapy, according to research. My vitiligo, I need to stay out of the sun and out of rays, and so that would just have been, it would have reactivated my vitiligo in other areas and would have exacerbated the area where the radiation would be, because that's where I have vitiligo the most. So that was cut out. So really it was either, you know, DCIS. There's this common, there's a left wing group that says DCIS is not cancer, it's just kind of normal. The only way people know it is because mammograms detect it. Everyone's probably got DCIS. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean it's cancer. It should not be classed as cancer. And I joined this group for a while, and they were just so adamant that you do not have cancer. DCIS is just changes. There are probably many changes that are happening in your body. Just eat well. Be aware that you've got metastatic, pleomorphic changes in your breasts, but this is not cancer. It doesn't have to progress. And anytime anyone in the group would talk about, I might be having it out, or I might be having therapy, they would kick that person off the group, because that's not the way we see it. This is not to be treated medically. So I found it very hard to be in that group, and it actually gave me a lot of, I'd had my decision, and then it was making me backpedal on my decision. And I thought this group was not right for me, because number one, I have a vascularity in my cell growth, in my tumor, and I also have a lump, and DCIS never forms a lump, apparently. It's very rare. And mine was like 2.5 centimeters, 25 millimeters, versus the ones on the left were 3 millimeter and 6 millimeter. And so I left that group. And when I left that group, it made me feel better, in that, there was a course of action, and that my surgeons were supporting me, and they were decreasing my chances of risk. And I knew that I didn't want to have the radiation therapy, so the lumpectomy was kind of out the door. And so I came to, my mind finally settled, and I kind of came to the agreement with what the treatment that my surgeon wanted, which was the double mastectomy. Like, when I first got told that this is what I had to do, I was just sitting there, just taking in information, nodding, feeling very compliant. But inside, I was so, I don't want to say angry, but I was like, this is not my choice. I don't want to do what you tell me. I want to do what I need to do for myself. So it probably took me 2 weeks, and this was probably the hardest stage for me mentally, of coming to terms that what the doctor had suggested was the right thing for me, me actually choosing it. There are a lot of times people go into an operation and they hate the operation, and they're fearful of the operation. They don't know why they're having the operation. They're being told that they have the operation, and there's never a good mindset and place to be. But for me, my turmoil, or my mental fatigue, came from trying to wrestle my mind into choosing that option, my heart and my mind into choosing that option to be the best option for me, as I discounted all the other things. So that was really interesting. I'm a life coach, and I'm still human. I still have these thoughts. And what helped me get through it was, there's 4 levels of thinking. The first level of thinking is, we do what we like because it's good for us, and it's good, and it feels good. We like it, it feels good, and it's good for us. The second level of thinking is, we do something that feels good, but it's actually not good for us, and it's not good for the people around us. So for example, if I give you an example, if you love walking, and walking is really good for you, and when you've walked and you've done something that's good for you, you feel better, and so you have more energy, and you give more of yourself to others around you. The second stage is you hate walking, but walking is good for you. It's controlling your weight, or controlling your mobility, or controlling your heart rate, or your cardiovascular health. And as a result, you're around for your kids, and that's good for everyone around you. So that's a level 2 thinking. You hate doing it, but it's good for you. A level 3 thinking is, I like what I'm doing, but it's so bad for me. So like, for example, if you love eating tubs of chocolate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it tastes good, it makes you feel good, it's smooth, it's creamy, it's satisfying, that endorphin hit for you. But afterwards, you go to the toilet, you're in pain, you hit a sugar spike and then a sugar drop, and then you can't go to work, and so it's not good for your body, and then it's not good for the people around you because you can't go to work, or you have a headache and you can't continue on, and you're grumpy with people in your life. So it's not good for you, and it's not good for the people around you. And then the level 4 thinking, which is the lowest of the low types of thinking, is I don't like what I'm doing. This is not good for me, and this is not good for the people around me. And this is usually we put addictive behaviors here. So, you know, people who are on hardcore drugs, and people who smoke, and the stuff that's addictive that you wish you weren't doing because it's so bad for you, but you kind of feel that you need it or you can't break away from it. This is classed into the level 4 thinking. It's not good for me. It's actually not good. I actually don't like doing it. I don't want it. It's not good for me. It's not good for my family. It's creating chaos in my family. And usually as you go through the types of thinking, level 2 soon becomes number 1. Like, you know, I don't like drinking this green drink. It tastes yucky, but look at my pores and I feel good, and my liver's detoxing and I'm able to walk and breathe better. And then soon enough, you're like, I love my green juice in the morning. So level 2 thinking becomes level 1 thinking, and you soon enjoy the thing that makes you feel good, and you associate good things and you anchor it to good moments. So I went through this model in my head, and I said, you know, I don't want to have a double mastectomy, but a double mastectomy is good for me. It's going to be good for my health, so I can reduce my risk of invasive cancer. It'll be good for my getting back to work and making money. It'll be good because then I'll be around, so I'll be around with my husband and my kids and my grandkids, and we can travel and do all the things, and I could be here to run my business and be here for my clients. And so I really took that model, and it helped me come to terms with the decision. And I actually decided that this was my decision. Sure, I had the doctors telling me that this was best to do, but then at the end of the day, they always said it was your decision. So, and I also dealt with a few parts inside of me that were like super scared to be uncomfortable, super scared to lose part of my body, super scared to be in pain. And so I did a lot of prep, and a lot of cajoling, and a lot of reassuring, and a lot of comforting, and a lot of compassionate kindness and care to the parts inside me. And some were angry, some were hurt, some were scared. And I felt like all of April was a whole lot of self-coaching. It was really good, because by the time I came to the day of surgery, I was going in there to get a job done that was good for me, and that I wasn't afraid. That I was actually grateful that I lived in a place that, you know, afforded me such amazing treatment. So today is Monday, the 5th of May. My surgery was last Wednesday, and I was in hospital from Wednesday until Saturday. So today is day 5 post-op, I believe. So Wednesday's day 0, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Today's day 6 post-op, and I'm home. I am feeling more like myself. At the moment, what I'm doing is I'm managing pain levels and managing drains. So I've got 2 drains here. I've got these wires. I'm not going to show the drains just in case someone doesn't is freaked out by them. So I've got 2 drains that come out from either side, and the drains remove any excess fluid from the operation. So I'm looking forward to getting these drains taken out. This week, I am focusing on rest and recovery. I told just a select few people. Obviously, my husband I told from the very beginning. The boys we told when we got the diagnosis from both biopsies. Same with my parents. I told my parents the diagnosis from both biopsies, and that was one of the hardest things I've had to do, is to watch my parents cry and allow them that, because not only do they have me, but they have my younger sister as well now. I also went and told my 3rd sister, and I just remember thinking, you know, I'm just gonna go in this very neutral, this is what we're gonna have to do. This is like with a plan, and I told them both that, you know, I'll take care of myself. I'm being taken care of at home by my husband. You guys are okay. Just take care of yourself, and please, I told my mom, I told my sister, you know, be on top of your checking, because the earlier they find it, the better for you. And again, I'll say that here. Please do check and go get your mammograms checked. If me, who hates mammograms, can say that, they will save your life. And yeah, we're lucky that we have the technology and the system to detect. And I think by making this video, I just wanted to put it out there that we all, you know, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what's happening inside your body when you're stressed, or when there's genetics passed down, or the food that we're eating. We just don't know what's happening in our body. So whatever you need to do, eat healthy and be healthy, so that if anything were to come up, you will be able to stay in control of as much as you can of your body. So I have been seeing a naturopath, and this is probably another subject, and I probably will leave this to another video, but I'll say it really quickly here. I've been feeling unwell since November, in that I've been getting UTIs that are not UTIs. It's just that feeling of burning sensation, and I'll go to the doctor and I'll do a test, and it's clear, but there's like no infection, no bacteria, but there's blood. So I had it on 3 times, and the doctor would put me on antibiotics just in case. And then finally in December, she said, oh, well, I bet you that this is just menopause. I'm 47 years old. I bet you this is just menopause coming on, and this is how your body reacts. And she gave me like estrogen cream to apply internally. And she said, this will help you feel better. Other than that, my lichen planus, which is like my autoimmune system's attacking my keratinocytes, all my sites where I have those have just been really itchy and inflamed. So my immune system has just been in overdrive since November. I finally saw a naturopath in December, and she told me to go off gluten, go off dairy, and just take off the things that kind of exacerbate. So I'd done that. So I'd felt that by the end of January, I was kind of okay in my eating, obviously, and also my digestive system was just a mess. Like, it was constipated one day and then loose on the next, and then back to constipated, and I just didn't want to eat because I just didn't know how I was going to be. And it was just, so I saw the naturopath. I did the gluten-free, the dairy-free. I did a microbiome test, and what they detected was that there was a parasite, there was a bacteria, and then there was a candida, like 3+. And she said, makes sense, because I'd had antibiotics 3 times. So my candida, which is already existing in your body, is an opportunistic. So when the opportunity arises, it just starts overgrowing. So I went on like this whole, and this is the whole thing that helped me as well between January and February while I was waiting for the first mammogram. I just went on this diet of trying, drinking all the greens and all the supplements she gave me and trying to make my body really healthy. And then when I was diagnosed for the right and the left, I went back to my naturopath and she said, right, let me teach you about estrogen dominance. And I know from my sister that my sister's cancer stage 4 is an ER positive, so estrogen receptor positive. So on our cells, there's estrogen receptors that, signal for estrogen to come in and bind. She said, let's talk about estrogen dominance. And when she talked about how when we create a lot of estrogen in our system and that we're not able to detoxify it, then it sits around and hangs around. And what is estrogen good for? Estrogen is what helps makes babies, right? It makes cells proliferate so you can have, so you can create life. So estrogen is good in that it creates cells to make life, but estrogen is not good when you don't want to have a baby, when you just, want to live a life after you've had your kids. So she said, if you're in estrogen dominance and have been all this time, and then you're coming up to 47, perhaps most likely perimenopausal, where the progesterone drops, so you have estrogen already in excess, plus now the progesterone's not as high to compensate or to protect, plus if your digestive system is not detoxifying it. So the digestion of estrogen is like in 2 parts. She goes, you got level 1 and level 2, and level 1 prepares it, level 2 makes it soluble, excretes it into the bowel, and then there's an enzyme in the bowel that's supposed to release it. But she said, I have the opposite of that enzyme, which sucks it back in. And she goes, I think that is what's happening to you, that you're in estrogen dominance. So she said to me that, how about we start clearing your estrogen levels so that post-surgery, and you can cut away the tumor as much as you like, but if you don't take away the root issue, then it's just going to come elsewhere. And I've heard so many stories, and you can read about them online, see them on YouTube videos, where people have had the mastectomy and then the cancer comes back. It just finds other places that are where the cells are estrogen receptors positive, and the estrogen just goes and lands in another place and starts proliferating there. So what she's saying is to detoxify my body of the estrogen so that it doesn't land anywhere else and create another tumor. So once she explained that to me, I felt like now I was in control of my body. Like, okay, this is the root cause. This is what is starting. This is what the whole starting is. And then I had to look about, what estrogen does. And estrogen does almost everything that I'm experiencing. It is connected to vitiligo, which is one of my autoimmune disorders. It is connected to lichen planus, which is one of my autoimmune disorders. It is connected to hair loss and mood swings and putting on weight even though you hardly eat anything, and the stress and doing and needing to just keep going and creating like the adrenal stress. It explains so much, and I find it so interesting that I had to get a tumor for me to go, what is this? Let's go to my naturopath and let's find it. But this is my journey. So I'm grateful that it's here. So in terms of that, what I've done, I did it just before surgery. I had something called the Dutch test, which looks at how estrogen is detoxified in your body. Like there's all these different pathways. There's the 2-OH, the 4-OH, and the 16-OH. Like they're called the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so if you have the 2-OH, then your estrogen is metabolized nicely and there's no problem. If your estrogen goes through the 16-OH pathway, then that's where it's broken down and reabsorbed in the body, and free radicals are created, and then it's able to move on to other parts of your body. So she said, I'm most likely thinking that you're in the 16-OH, and what we'll do is we'll do the supplements and shift your body so it's toxifying along the right pathway, and we'll give you the right glutathione, which helps to release that soluble bound estrogen release it from your gut. So, secrete it from your gut. So I feel like, yeah, okay, so I've done this stage 1, which is removing the tumors, and then my next stage is going to the naturopath to get the results of my Dutch test, and then after that is next Monday, which is going back to the surgeon to get the final report on the pathology of the tumors on both sides. And from there will be like kind of the next journey of what happens next. But for now, I am in rest and recovery. All I'm doing is managing my pain and managing my drains and sleeping a lot, basically, because that's all I feel like doing. So yeah, I had said earlier, and pardon me if it's disjointed, I find that things are like that a little bit now. Like my mind kind of tends to wander, whereas I never had that issue before. Maybe I didn't, I don't know, I'm just more aware of it now. So yeah, I just want to thank, I told my parents, I told my sisters, and then I told, I was in a collaboration with 2 other coaches. We were just going to do amazing things this year. So I had to tell them so that, you know, I could be excused from those obligations, and they were so gracious, and I'm so grateful to them. And it just shows you how great our coaching community is. I also told my clients that I was away for surgery, and I didn't tell them why. They're going to know after this, but that's okay. I didn't want to create a fear environment, or an environment where they felt like they were adding to my stress, because not at all. I just felt like I needed to be in a place where I was okay, and I knew how I was going to take care of myself before I could take care of them, and to have the energy and the space to hold space for them, because that's basically what coaching is. I noticed that the last 2 weeks of work were really hard for me. Whenever I had residents who were in a lot of pain and in a lot of chaos, because I work with dementia patients, I found that I had a lot of pain in my chest where my tumor was. And so I felt like I hardly had enough energy and love and compassion and care to take care of myself and manage my own emotions and manage my own state. And I didn't have that usual overflow and the want and the need and the will to rush to the help of those who needed it. And I told my boss this, and she said, understandable. So once again, I have like the most beautiful manager you can ever wish for any situation. God bless her. Yeah, and my husband's been great. He has sympathy things, like whenever I have something, he also has it too. So I guess he's along for the journey that way, energetically bonded. And my boys have been great. Just, I'm so grateful that this has happened in a time when my boys are 21 and 17 and not, 8 and 5. That would be hard. That would be hard. And also this has happened at a time, at 47, where I've had my children, and I've done my breastfeeding, and we weren't planning on any more children. So, and not that this means that any more children, but there is that possibility that after this there is another therapy, which will then send me into menopause, and then no more children for this. But at 47, I'm grateful to have my 2, and that's all right. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about here. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be brave enough to put this on. I hope I am. I think I will be, because I do want, if this story helps anyone, I do want to share just a little bit of my journey with others, so that they can take kind of what I went through and see that there is like life after what you thought your life was going to be like, and then someone else delivers you a news that you never thought you had, you never thought you'd be, and then you're like, now where am I? Because that's exactly where I felt. I was like, well, I had this whole vision for 2025, and this just knocks it way out. And so that's okay, and that's okay. And then you readjust, and it becomes part of your story, and there's a reason for everything. And we just never know where we're supposed to be and who we're supposed to meet. Like, I've met the most amazing nurses, mainly nurses and doctors as well, who have just been just really beautiful, taking care of me when I was in a place very uncomfortable and to be. So I'm hoping that this is just something that is like a notch on your skills of going into an area where you have no information about, and then you get good at learning information. You get good at managing things, like managing your own pain, managing your own, the way you advocate for yourself is really important. The way you look for other things, like there are other things other than what other people tell you, and so it's always good to check. So I've chosen to follow along with the Western medicine pathway, and I'm also choosing a naturopathic pathway, which my doctor said to me, this stuff is not true about what the naturopath said, but you know what, it is. There is science behind it, and I'm open to that mindset. And so I feel like if I do both alongside, I have double the chance of succeeding. So that's where I'm going to go with that. So yeah, I just want I want to empower you to find your voice and find how you will accept this next part of your life and how you're going to go through it. So I went in with this just amazing feeling of gratitude and a plan for when I come out, I'm going to take care of the root issue, which I believe is the estrogen dominance. I'm going to find out on Friday from my Dutch test, and I'm going to also find out on Monday from my pathology. So they're going to tell me a tumor, a breast cancer tumor, either is estrogen positive, progesterone positive, a protein, HER protein positive, or it's a negative, triple negative. So it doesn't respond to any of those, which is the hardest kind of breast cancer. I'm just going by the assumption that because my sister is ER positive, I will be too. It could be different totally, and we'll find out on Monday. And so I'll find out the results from the naturopath and the results from the doctor, and I am going to find a way through this to right the imbalance in my body, and I'm going to get through this. So yes, the pain and the scars and the drains, and yes, it's super uncomfortable at the moment, but it's nothing that I can't handle. Women have handled it before. I will get through this too, and I hope to update you with what's happening in my next stage when the time comes. So thank you so much for watching. And all my love to you, and all my love to the people that have supported me and have been so kind and have dropped presents and messages and called and came to visit in hospital. And I am truly blessed, because you really get to see who just says that they're your friends and who really does follow through on their words. And I think the quality of your life is so much better by the beautiful quality of the friendships that you have. So love the people that you're with. Tell them that you love them. If you know someone who's not well, send them a message. It makes their day. It really does. And yeah, just start living with this purpose of, I'm doing what I want in my life, instead of cancer. Like, I know a lot of people who said once cancer came along, they were like, what am I doing? I don't even like where I work. I don't like who I'm with. I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like who I am. And then I asked myself this question. I said, okay, I have cancer now. What would I change? And you know what? I would change nothing, because I love the people that I work with. I love the dementia part of my work. I love putting old people to bed, making sure they're comfortable and they're warm and they're clean and they're happy. I love my own business where I'm helping women become empowered and finding out who they are and being strong and making opportunities and taking opportunities and finding their inner voices and finding their inner strength. I love my husband. We have a great marriage. I love my 2 boys who are independent and growing to be amazing men. I love where I work. I love where I live. I love my religion. I love my friends. I love my parents. And I'm so grateful to God for just where I am right now. It's kind of like a stop and assess moment for me. And I'm so thankful for it all. That's all I'm going to say. So thank you so much for listening if you stayed this whole time. And I hope you have a great day.